they say.
Well, listen, these shippers can be very unreliable. Hi, everybody. Speaking of unreliable, I'm Kevin Kelly, and I want to welcome you to another edition, Day Late, Dollar Short, here for the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. I'm both the Day Late and Dollar Short part. That's our host, Casey Thompson, right there. He's the man who came up with this idea, and he's got a cool belt collection. And he's all jazzed up on Cuban coffee and ready to rock. How are you, sir?
Yes, sir. Did we introduce you, Kevin, my tummy hurts, Kelly?
Oh, dude. So I've had
2 weeks in a row.
And it was still bothering me today. Like I I had taken a couple of days off of work because my stomach was bothering me. Then it flared up again on Sunday and then this past Sunday. It's like this huge gas bubble.
Do you have what's that called? Thing with your stomach. I'll think of it in a second. Something with the intestines and things.
Oh no, like diverticulitis?
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Diverticulitis.
God,
you don't have that?
No, I don't think so.
You would know.
That's pain.
That's rotten. But I know people that have. Wow. Well, Happy New Year, by the way. This is our first edition.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Season 3.
I love it.
We've been renewed for another year, by the way. Our deal just rolled over. They didn't take the out clause, so I guess we're doing something right.
And do we get any more money? Did we get any more money out of this deal? We didn't get a raise?
I think YouTube's talking to me about it. We'll see.
Oh, very good. Very good.
We might. I'm shooting for 100% raise.
There you go. We'll double our money. It has been a great ride through the end of 24, all of 25, and now the start of 26 here on the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. We sort of take an old school look at the modern issues, but then every once in a while we'll get a wild hair up our rear ends and have a topic out of the blue that takes us back to the Attitude Era and takes us back, as we will tonight, into one of the greatest feuds that had more steam behind the scenes than it did in the ring. And that is Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, and it produced because of it, it produced the greatest heel ever in the wrestling business too, Mr. McMahon character.
Correct. And, again, recent accusations by Bret Hart. This is.
I know it's a couple weeks old, but
it's old. It's old news in the wrestling news, right? In the wrestling news cycle, this has been oft discussed, but we've got an interesting perspective on it. Because Casey, you were more on the front lines of the WWF when the type of behavior that Bret Hart spoke about, which, by the way, Bret Hart accused Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon of being in love, of there being love interest. Lovers.
Yeah, basically Bret said that you've always been jealous of me and you had to sleep with Vince McMahon and you guys were lovers to get my spot.
And of course, when Bret Hart speaks, everybody listens, whether you agree with him.
Because I think he's taken over the new Hogan, Ric Flair persona, where everything he says is outrageous. Hogan wrestled 500 times in 1 year because he went to Japan, and that counts as 3 or 4 times for the time zone differences and everything.
Yeah.
And Rick's had some really out there things, which, you know what? Ric Flair's still going. He's going strong. He's 76 or 78, 76 years old, 77?
Something like that.
You know what? If he wants to charge $600 to babble on Cameo and someone pays for it, then you know what? They know what they're getting into, and good for Rick for getting $600 to just babble. I wish I could.
When he was alive, would you have rather spent time with Ric Flair now or Hulk Hogan now?
Wow, that's a really good question, and that's a really good Man, I honestly, man, I mean, I'm like kind of stumped, but I'm gonna stay with Ric Flair because me staying true to my roots with Florida, you know, and him being
Right.
the traveling NWA World Champion. I've seen him so many times down here with Gordon Soley and Dusty and stuff like that. I'm gonna go with Ric Flair because um, I've had some conversations with him, and I think it would be really cool to be able to sit down at a table without all the outside interference, because that's what gets you when you're talking to someone like any kind of over a guy. When it's one-on-one, you get a really true, sincere
True.
conversation. But when you're talking to, and I'll give you an example, when you're talking to them inside the element, you don't get the real thing. You get like, hey, brother, what's going on, man? This and
Yeah.
that. I'll give you an example. I've known Diamond Dallas Page for a long, long time.
Sure.
And when I see him in front of people, he was like, hey, what's, this kind of stuff. But then I ran into him once. Cliff had in Fort Myers, he had like a car lot show, like 4 or 5 matches. And
Okay.
it's right when DDP's book came out, and he was there doing a book signing. So I went up and talked to him. I was like, oh, hey, brother, what's going on? How you been? And, just because it was me and him and no one else, we were no outside interference. And I had a great conversation with them instead of having all the elements around. So it's
Sure.
like when I always talked about coming up with the concept of the show, someone might treat you one way because you're an announcer, treat like another contract guy one way, and treat the enhancement guy a totally different way. So everyone has their own perception of possibly the same person, the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's no different than when we were growing up, Casey, and there was the cool guy who ran with the popular crowd that would be friends with us,
yeah,
kind of the wrestling nerd, on kind of the down low, but when he was with his buddies, oh, look at that guy, he likes wrestling. You know how many
yeah,
times I heard that? And yet,
yeah,
those guys turned out to be either extremely immature and never grew up, or pretty solid people, but they, in their element, you
yeah,
saw their worst behavior.
sure, yeah,
Now, I'll say it like this. I think prior to his passing, in the last few years of his life, I would have rather spent time with Hogan than with Flair. And the reason is because I have friends, Kerry Silkin, for one, former owner of Ring of Honor, who has been so disappointed by Ric Flair that I would be afraid that something would happen and I would wind up disappointed. Hogan at least seemed reliable. He wasn't, he was saying outrageous things, but he wasn't running amok anymore. And Flair is still Ric Flair.
Because Flair's best friend is one of my very close friend of mine, Joe Gomez.
Okay.
So I think because of that, with me, him, and Joe there, we would have an incredible, like say, lunch or something, just sitting there just talking about the stories. He listened to the stories of the territory days and getting a true. With having his real good friend there, knowing that I'm tight with him, I would get the true Ric Flair, what he's really like.
No doubt about that.
So I think that's what would be, and I've been trying to do that for a couple of years now. And I had to really just stick to my gun. I know Joe's been sick; he's on the men. He's doing on the men's doing
Good.
better. But coming back from a stroke,
tell him we send our
really,
regards.
really rough.
Sure.
And I talked to Bob Cook, and speaking of people that have been sick, and I said, Happy New Year. Hope you're doing okay, doing better. He said, unfortunately, I'm not. So I don't know what that means with Bob, because if anyone knows Bob, he's always a pessimistic about everything.
Right.
So, and then I actually talked to Bugsy McGraw today, and he made another stint in the hospital. He's back out. He's doing good. He says, praise God, his health is good. He's alive. He's living, and all that. So we had a whole show about, some of our friends who've been sick and stuff like that.
Right.
And
well, again, it's a new year, and we can always hope for the best. But let's turn our attention to the claims of Bret Hart that Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon were lovers. You, Casey, were an enhancement talent in WWF when pre-steroid trial, pre-ring boy scandal, pre-any of this, before any of this had really hit the news, you were there and you were wrestling for them. So Terry Garvin was still in the office and Pat Patterson was still around. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying that in the time period where Shawn and Vince first really came into each other's lives and things were a little bit more loosey-goosey, this is the time period with, where you were there and you might have seen some more outrageous behavior.
I can say right now I didn't see anything. Well, I didn't see anything personally. I can say I've heard stories. Now, you got to understand where the source is coming from another wrestler. So, chances are it may not be 100% a shoot. They're going to add to it to make themselves sound good and look good and everything. But back in those days, the scandal was definitely true from my understandings, that there's a lot of and I'm not saying I'm against it or for it. I'm not giving an opinion on it. There's a lot of homosexual activity going on in wrestling back then. And not with me.
No, but again, if it was
the enhancement guy.
If it was being used as leverage, used as leverage, and that was always the accusation, is people in power were courting sexual favors in exchange for opportunities. And I mean, there's case law after case law now that has been, adjudicated and printed, and everybody knows that no matter what business you are in, that type of behavior doesn't fly. And
absolutely.
So I think the entire corporate sphere has a lot of that behavior has been bred out, shall we say, over the last 25, 30 years. Now, when I got there in 96, I immediately walked into the hornet's nest because Bret was taking time off and was not around, and Shawn and Hunter were, Shawn especially, Hunter was his handler and trying to, keep him guided to a certain extent.
Right.
But there was a lot of, wild stories coming out about Bret from the Shawn side.
Yeah.
Sonny, of course, in the epicenter of a lot of it publicly. And I do think that Bret and Shawn are Eskimo brothers, Casey. I do believe that. I think that is true.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with you there.
Now, of course, you're spoken for now, and you've been a married man before. But back in the day, are you Eskimo brothers with anybody really super famous?
My screen must have just froze up. I didn't hear the question. So what we were talking about, I cannot confirm or deny anything.
Oh my God. Okay. It's another show for another time. How about that?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's getting hot in here, isn't it?
You didn't realize you were going to be on the witness stand.
It's okay. Everyone has a past, and
Your Honor, request to treat this man as a hostile witness.
Yes. Denied. Overruled.
Damn it. You can't object.
Yeah,
so,
in my earlier days in the whole it's called Arena Rats. We shorten it to just Rats.
Mm-hmm.
There are rats in literally every city. And I've taken part of the things that are offered when I was not in a committed monogamous relationship?
Of course.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, anyone probably would. You're on the road all the time, this and that. So, hey, it is what it is. Plus, they cook, too. Some of them.
Even if it's
Depends where you're at.
even if it's just to wash your clothes, repack your luggage, you know what I mean? Like nothing deviant.
Right.
I do need some cash to get down the road. Yes. If you could see your way clear to maybe spot me 50 and I could be on my way.
I did have I will say this was a fan that I had, because nothing ever happened with this fan and myself, but for like my 21st birthday, this fan, and she was much, much older. There was these two, how they always, back in the day, every wrestling card has like two old ladies that went to the matches. These are like sisters, and they're probably in their mid-50s. So I mean, now in retrospect, not that old. But when I was 21 years old, 22 years old, they were really old, And I got I got a birthday card with 1 year with $210 in it for my 21st birthday.
Oh, because that's the reason you got 21. 210. I was like,
yeah, and I was like,
210. What an odd amount.
I'm like, and my buddy's like, where'd you get that from? He's like, oh, you're gonna have to do something. I said, no, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
And then and then the next year, I think I got $222. And then I started getting smart and was like, working the gimmick as one of the boys. The boys will always ruin everything.
Of course.
It's just, especially when it comes to money, always, they ruin it. So I was like, oh, I have a funeral I got to go to. I just don't have the money to go. Oh, how much would that cost? X amount. All right, here's the money. I'm like, oh, wow. She's like, how many friends do you have that die? I use that excuse a few times.
Damn. So it wasn't actually the boys that screwed
7, 8,
it. It was
9.
you. Yeah, it was you that ruined it.
That
Way to
situation.
Go. Yeah,
I stayed away from it just because it was what it was. There was nothing there, but
right. So I'll give you a for instance. I'll give you a for instance. You remember the sweet Rosati sisters that used to be featured on, like WWF programming, the three very heavy set Italian women.
Yes.
Supposedly they were, big fans as well of wrestlers back in the day. And
I can see that.
That's how you got to know people. That's how you got to know different people in the town, even if it wasn't sexual, but they would sometimes be the link to human contact other than the same 15, 20 guys I've been staring at for a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like when I was in Japan, I got invited to a couple of fan club get-togethers. And the New Japan,
you were telling me about that, yeah.
Yeah, the New Japan fan club is a really solid thing. And they're all over the country, and they get together like little chapters. When the show comes to their town, they'll all go out to, eat, drink, whatever, and have fun afterward. And they have a lot in common. Their main thing is New Japan, but that's how they get started. You go to that, you start to talk to them, and we've met all kinds of people. There's one goofy sponsor in Japan. This guy was a riot, and his name has just left my head. Dang it. And I'm going to remember it later. Anyway, if Doc Gallows was here, Shuggy, right? Anyway, I think that's his name, Shuggy. That sounds familiar. Anyway, he was like this laughy, happy, jokey guy and drinking a lot and having a great time. Turned out he's a really famous architect who built
Oh, wow.
like many, many different hotels in Japan. And, not just
Wow.
kind of like the same rectangular box that we'll see with a lot of properties here. Built some really ornate stuff. And
Oh, wow.
so I was like, really? He's an architect? And then got to meet him, got to talk with him. English was pretty good. It's a good outlet, and it's a good way to meet people.
And
But it's also a
good
good way to
networking too.
Yes, because you find out a lot. You find out a lot about what's going on, the comings and goings of the company, shall we say. Like Shinsuke Nakamura had a sponsor, I think I said this here, like a $10,000, $20,000 watch they gave him.
Wow.
Like a huge thing. Anyway, so we've established that in the early to mid 90s, there was an atmosphere of, proclivity, of different things, a different element that's not present today. And I can tell you that from when I got into the company, there were two persistent rumors that I heard. Number one rumor was that somehow, some way, Shawn Michaels had a spell over Vince. And the rumor is that Shawn could pretty much get away with anything because Vince was never going to fire him because it was almost if Vince loved Shawn.
Yeah.
That was the way it was stated.
Maybe he shot him with a bow and arrow.
I mean, it is just after New Year's, Casey. But if you do go to the drugstore right now, you will find Halloween or Valentine's candy. So maybe a little boop struck by Cupid's arrow.
I mean, I will say this.
That was the first.
Think it's,
yeah, that was the number one rumor. No, I know. Nothing's too far-fetched. In wrestling?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, in this business, absolutely.
Let's just say, okay, so in Hollywood, has there ever been such a thing? Yes, of course. My God.
Yeah.
Then the first rumor is that Shawn had some sort of spell over Vince, could get away with anything, because the perception is that Vince was in love with him. And the other rumor was that Shawn Michaels had been given luxurious gifts and tons of cash in exchange for sexual favors with a very wealthy homosexual man.
Oh, that's right.
That was one of the rumors, right? And
you know what? My girl told me about that today. She knew about it.
Yeah, because if you go on the internet,
and I was like, what? But now it makes sense, and I remember.
Yeah. And I think this may go back to like the days when he and Jannetty were together, Shawn.
Yeah.
But
probably the territory days, trying to get to the next town. Needed a couple tires on the car, needed a new transmission, needed this or that, and don't worry, Marty, I'll take one for the team. I'll get us there. Allegedly.
Take one for the team, sure. Allegedly. And all of this is just alleged. None of it's ever been proven. Nobody's ever come out and said.
What do they
call those things?
Urban legends.
The urban legends.
We're responding to Bret. Yeah, we're having a dialect to what Bret Hart's accusations are.
Now, so you were in the company before me. And you were there on a quite frequent basis. I got hired in 96, and I was there until 2003. So our paths kind of intersected. Bret was there from 84 until 2004 to 97.
Right.
No, I'm sorry, 1984 to 1997.
Yeah.
I can speak. He saw a lot and knows a lot and has heard a lot over the years. So I would say that if Bret Hart says something, you pay attention to it. Okay? You heard some of this. Yeah, you heard some of the same rumors that I had heard.
Yeah.
We've been around the same people, and we could say, well, we can connect 1 and 1 and come up with 2.
Yeah.
It's not that outrageous.
You
But the
can take the
idea,
rumors we've heard,
yeah,
and I told a couple weeks ago about how Pat Patterson singled me out, to tell me how good I looked in the ring. I'm like, oh, my work looks good. No, you look good.
and you
So
did. You
well,
did.
I didn't. I felt a little uncomfortable with Pat telling me that, though.
Well, sure.
He didn't even
But
have $221 for
that
me.
he couldn't help you get to the next town.
Yeah.
Go see Hebner, and or go see Arnie.
Yeah.
But so you've got Bret, who, of course, very publicly has had an axe to grind, some would say, against Shawn Michaels,
Everyone.
but has been
With the
very
business.
outspoken. Yes.
Yeah.
He's been very outspoken about a lot of things. And
But
no
do you
one
think in the last few years he's been becoming more and more outrageous with what he's saying? Sort of like a Hogan or Flair. Is he almost to that level?
Well, I don't think so, because
if we get one or two more things out of him, I think he will be.
Has he ever said anything that has been wildly refuted to the point of mockery? I mean, Hogan was such a liar that, again, it was the source of comedy bits. Wrestling 400
I don't think
times
he was
a
just a
year.
liar. I just think he just said whatever he wanted to say, and it wasn't true.
Sure.
I don't think he was intentionally. I think he was one of the boys. They say the territory back in the day. The territories. They were like gypsies. Because they had to get from one town to the other. They weren't making a lot of money. They were making enough, but still it was rough. And I have a friend. He's no longer with us. He was from Iran. He told me, he says, "Yeah, I like to embellish my stories for entertainment purposes."
Sure.
He says, so it's true, but I stretch the truth to make it sound better for a better story. And I think that's what a lot of the territory days. I saw a lot of that with Rocky Johnson when I was around Rocky Johnson a lot. He would really have some doozies.
Yeah, he had a couple of ones. And Southern Joe, hello, our friend. Thank you for joining us last week. We loved having you on the show. The thought is that maybe Hogan had undiagnosed dementia. Maybe some of these guys did get hit in the head a lot. They forget what they said, or they, it sounds right to them in the moment. Okay.
Right.
And I am the furthest from that with Bret Hart. And the reason is because I agree with most, if not all, of what Hogan says. When he accuses Shawn Michaels and
Bret.
Vince McMahon of, I'm talking about Bret.
Yeah, you said Hogan.
When Bret Hart accuses Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon of being lovers, I'm going to listen, because I have agreed.
You got to have a podcast and you got to talk about it. You got to talk through it.
I've agreed with Bret Hart on most of the things that he said, if not all the things that he said about the business. When he has a specific opinion about somebody that he wrestled, like Bill Goldberg or somebody like that.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. What do you think about Goldberg? You think one kick to the head is going to end someone's career after everything he's been through?
Okay, so when I watch wrestling and when I watch football, especially, I see it, and in football, right? They've got the helmet on, but their head bounces off the ground, and I think, well, that's a concussion. That's a concussion. Wrestlers, you don't ever the well-trained ones are taught to flat back and their head doesn't hit the mat. They avoid contact with their head. Yeah, they'll take a buckle.
Chest, yep.
But it's all here, and when they land, boom, the head doesn't. The back of the head doesn't hit.
No, that
could one errant kick? That's what I mean. Yeah. Could one errant kick cause a career-ending, concussion? Sure. I think so.
I don't think
I'm not a neurologist. What?
Yeah, I don't think the kick looked that bad.
No, but again, it didn't look that devastating. But sometimes it's the one you don't expect.
What you're about to say. Yeah. Sometimes, and I agree with that, because the ones that look the shittiest are usually the ones that hurt the most.
Looks like shit, hurts like hell. Yes.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Heard that. Yeah. So again,
I know it wasn't intentional or anything.
No, I don't believe that Bill Goldberg's.
That way.
No, he didn't set out to. I'm going to end this guy's career with this crappy kick. It's a sloppy worker. And I think Bill Goldberg has done his penance for that. Whatever. But now we're in a situation where Bret Hart has said something very controversial, and to my knowledge, there hasn't been any pushback from any side. No one has come out and said that's not true. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you for slander.
He even said if Vince was in my face right now, in my presence, or Shawn, I would tell both of them I think you slept with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Nash was like, he just blew it off. No one's had a big stance like you were saying. None of the boys that have podcasts or this or that have said, "Oh my gosh, he's crazy," this or that. It's just kind of like, yeah.
What's his face? David Lagana. Remember that writer? Yeah. David Lagana.
NWA guy?
He said,
isn't he with NWA now? Announcer?
No. Dave Lagana. He was the writer. In WWE. Yeah, I think he was writing for the NWA when that first started.
Oh, okay. That's how far I'm out of the loop with NWA.
And then during the speaking out movement, he was accused of some not nice things, and they parted ways, and he's been out of the business ever since. He told me straight up. He was on the Vince plane and saw Vince digitally penetrating, shall we say, a passed out Ashley Massaro. God rest her soul.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When did he say that? Just recently?
No, this was when we worked together in Ring of Honor.
Oh, he told you?
He told me straight up. Dave Lagana told me.
Oh, wow.
Could Dave Lagana have been making it up? Maybe. But why would I doubt it?
You know what? Yeah, you probably took it that way. But now that everything else the allegations with Vince have come out, you're probably like, Dave might have actually seen something there.
Yeah. I wouldn't have, like anything else.
Yeah.
Dave Lagana says it.
I'm just it's one of the boys telling a story.
Right. But I kind of believed him because he was there, and it was from a place because I knew he flew on the plane a lot.
And then you're watching the news and the allegations come out. You're like, he was telling me the truth.
Yeah. He's a creepazoid. Look at him. Okay, so the accusations that Bret has made against Vince and Shawn Michaels being lovers, if you had to bet your house on it, which side would you agree on? Let's say that Vince and Shawn completely disagree. No, Bret, that never happened. That's silly. And Bret says it absolutely is true. Casey Thompson, you have to bet your house on it. Who are you going to take?
Man,
as to be more likely right?
I've learned in this business, never say never. And what seems to be the most outrageous, outlandish, unbelievable thing is a shoot, and it's happened. So if I had to bet my house on it, that it happened some point in their careers, I'm not going to lose my house over it. So, I would say somewhere. I don't know if it's to the degree that Bret's saying, but
right. Now, okay, so here's my point, and it's sort of hedging a bet in a way. Did Vince love Shawn? Yes, I think he did.
Oh, yeah. That's obvious. You have to put up with so much shit from someone.
Right. Shawn had sway with Vince, could get away with things with Vince, would scream in Vince's face and talk to
Fit
Vince
people's
like,
bags.
well, that too. But no one else, like no one else could. And
Right.
I would be willing to bet that while Vince loves Shawn, I'm not so sure that Shawn loved Vince. I'm not so sure that it went that way. And
Right.
that Vince and Shawn physically ever were together. So I would say more likely than not, they never did anything, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't strong interest, at least on one side. And gun to my head, you got to pick a side, Kevin. I would say, yeah, I side with Bret Hart. Because anything could happen, right? Yeah. You could pass out on the Vince plane and all of a sudden find wait a minute, how'd that get there, pal?
Or you could stay up there as long as you want to be there and do what you want and get away with what you want. And just got to run into them a couple times here and there when they both run into each other in the hotel.
Yeah, whoops.
When no one else is around.
And of course, I was there.
So you never say never, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Not in this business.
No. And again, I was there in Hartford, Connecticut for the fight with Bret and Shawn. I wasn't an eyewitness to it personally. I was down the hall in like the TV locker room, one of the other locker rooms, and heard the commotion. And as we all did, everybody looked out and went down the hall, and I saw the hunk of Shawn's hair that Bret Hart had ripped out. And the fight had moved from the locker room to the open concourse area where vehicles could come in and such. And that was where the yelling and screaming was happening. I didn't see Bret because he had been removed from the scene. Shawn was screaming at Vince. And Triple H is trying to get Shawn away. Eventually, everybody left the building, and then all the boys just went, ooh, that was awesome. So, it didn't change anybody's mind. If you were on Team Bret, you still felt the same way. And if you were on Team Shawn, you still felt the same way.
Right. But, do you think that the truck knew something was going to happen? Because right after the bell rung, where would the camera normally go to the winner of the new champion? But it went right on zoomed in tight on the face of Bret. That's a little weird. I know
the people that knew what happened in Montreal smartened up the people that needed to know in the truck.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm sure of that. I'm sure. Yeah, okay. Let's just say, because Bruce was constantly on headset with Kevin Dunn. Vince, I'm sure, was on headset or smartened him up ahead of time. Hey, at the conclusion of the match, pal, the conclusion of the main event, make sure you get a good tight shot of Bret's face.
Gotcha.
So you could give the instruction without smartening him up, or he could have been completely smartened up to it and knew the whole time and knew exactly how to lay it out. But yeah, got great coverage.
It was supposed to be a double disqualification.
Yeah, that was what was going to. Right. That was the way it was pitched, so that the sharpshooter was going to be on. Here comes Owen and the Bulldog, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Vince gets involved, and a whole big schmoz, and we throw the thing out. So,
do you think
that was what
do
was
you think
supposed to
Shawn calls Bret like, dude, what are you saying? Why are you always trying to? What's wrong with you, man? I'm married to one of the Nitro girls now.
Yeah, are they boys? And is this like a big giant rib that Bret says, "Oh, watch this. I'm going to get Shawn good." And Shawn's like, "You MFer. I can't believe you said that, you jerk. Wait till I shit in your bag for Christmas."
Or Brett's like, yeah, that's just getting you back for the Sonny stuff.
Yeah,
Talking about
sure.
Sonny.
Receipts all around. Receipts all around.
Oh, yeah. It might take 20 years, but the receipt's coming. I have a couple guys that's going to get a receipt.
Okay. Do you have a list?
Yes.
How many people are on this list?
The number one guy on the list is, you remember Dennis Allen?
Yeah.
Dennis Allen's on the top of the list. And I'm not
Dennis
mad at him.
Allen?
I'm not mad at him. I'm friends
Just a
with
receipt.
him. It's a receipt. It's business. It's a receipt. We were doing one of those stadium matches, and it was me, Cliff against him and Chris Nelson.
Yeah.
And I was doing something. I turned around. As I turned, those big, giant, orange industrial-sized garbage can lids?
Yeah.
The lid hit me. The point of it hit me right here. And just split it open. I mean, it was blood. I ended up getting 22 stitches that night.
Dang.
Right? And you can see a line in the middle of my eyebrow from it. So he's been waiting. He was waiting for 5 or 6 years after that every time we got in the ring for the receipt. So I kind of played it out like he never know when it's coming. So he was always on edge. And always thought, I'm not mad at you, bro.
For wrestling fans in Florida, the Exterminators versus the Hitmen wrestled all over hundreds of times.
Oh, yeah, everywhere.
And
yeah.
Just great matches. And Dennis is he's a little older than me, so he's got to be 60.
Yeah.
60-something.
So
you better hurry up, Casey.
Yeah, he's the top guy he's probably the only one that I can really remember very, very vividly why there's a receipt for him coming. Oh, well, there's one other guy that tried to stretch me when I first started. Remember Buddy Valentine?
Oh yeah, he
thought I was
belly.
Cocky.
Big belly, right?
Yeah. So he thought I was cocky, so he tried to take liberties with me. So he's gonna one day. He's one that I've never liked ever since. So, but one day, one way or another, if he's alive still, I don't know.
My first meeting with Buddy Valentine was at the Plant City Theater, Plant City Wayne, and he was in like a loser eats dog food match. So, yeah.
I remember in WCW where they had him teaming up with Greg.
Oh God, I'm sure Greg
together
loved that.
They look nothing alike, but separated. Okay, there's similarities where I can see they could be distant cousins or whatnot, but together, like nothing alike. Greg's taller, he's shorter. Greg's more muscular, he's frumpy. The outfits look nothing alike. Greg was just like, oh my God. You know Valentine? You know Greg very well?
I'm sure.
I mean, do you know
Only
Greg
met
very
him
well?
a couple of times. No, I do not. Only met him a couple of times.
So,
nice guy, though.
And prior to this, I didn't know him very well. So, and we would sit out there, because by this time we're like Universal. So and they had trailers out at Universal for us to, so all the guys just everywhere out backstage and, sitting in the chair, leaning up on the chair, trying to get sun in between the tapings and stuff like that. So I was with Greg, talking to Greg, and he was just telling me stories. He's a cool guy, really, really laid back, but really, really funny. I mean, extremely funny. And he was telling me this one story that he was talking about how he was out of town once and his kids drained his pool.
Oh.
Where the pool ended up popping up out of the ground because you can't take all the water out of the pool. But they were into skateboards, so they were in there skateboarding in the pool, wearing all of his robes. He says all these kids are wearing my $10,000 robes, just skating through the whole neighborhood with his robes on.
Oh
He
my
said, I came home and I
God.
wanted to kill everyone.
Okay, so we've established that there are two guys, at least, on your list that are due a receipt. I know Carino has a list, and his is a little darker. Like, he doesn't wish death on people, but he has very strong negative opinions about people, and they are on the list. And the
He's a couple
order on this
levels
list
lower
has
than
fluctuated
Cornette.
a little bit. And sure. And so now to put this into context that we can all understand, and it's a beautiful segue into our next subject. The list that Steve Carino has, legit, was Jimmy Jacobs was part of the writing team of WWE and thought that that was a really cool idea for Chris Jericho. And so that became the spawn of one of the many incarnations of Chris Jericho in the WWE.
Oh, wow.
And Casey, I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know if you've kept up with the news at all, but it would appear that the Chris Jericho watch back in WWE has begun, and that allegedly his contract with AEW expired at the end of the year, and he didn't want to renew, wasn't going to renew, whatever, and they parted ways, obviously amicably. And at some point, very soon, perhaps as early as tonight on Raw, as we record on a Monday night, we could be seeing Chris Jericho's return to the WWE. So that's.
Do you think Tony Khan tries to keep, like, WWE will keep guys under contract where they can't go anywhere else? You think Tony Khan tries to do that at all, or no?
I've had my thoughts about that in a couple of different ways. Now, the word is that Tony never would fire anybody except for me, but he would let their contracts lapse even if he had no plans for them and wasn't going to use them anymore. For example, news today, Mercedes Martinez, her contract has lapsed. We knew that, though, because she had said 2026 is going to be my last year of active wrestling. Hell of a career, incredible wrestler, one of my all-time favorites, Mercedes.
Is she nice behind the scenes?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. She's so
really?
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know her, so okay.
She's a good sister, no doubt about it. Has always fit in.
Oh, good.
And top-notch. Matt Taven, another good brother, former Ring of Honor World Champion. His contract ended, as did Alex Abrahantes, who was part of the Spanish announce team and was the hype man for the Lucha Bros. So, creative plans end. Maybe the conversation with Mercedes was, well, what are we looking at? Yeah, I just want to end after this next year. Well, I probably don't have anything that's going to suit you well, so maybe we just part. Okay. So I don't think he hoards them and keeps them and won't let them go, but he won't release them early, but yet doesn't fire them so he doesn't get a bad rap. But when the contract is over, they're free to leave, and that's it. When you do your sentence, you're free to leave prison.
There you go. Now, and Jericho's sentence is up.
It's up. But so this goes back to, like we did a whole couple of shows about with Punk and Cody and all these guys leaving. Chris Jericho is a household name. No disrespect to Mercedes or Matt Taven or Alex Abrahantes, but they're not household names.
They're not Chris Jericho.
They're not. They're not on his level, not even close. Now,
and he was one of the ones who carried AEW for the longest time, right?
In the words of Eddie Mansfield, he pioneered that territory. So, so that you have to look at the effect that Jericho had on AEW in a completely net positive way. even though some of the more ardent AEW supporters have said, well, he's not that good anymore and he doesn't look like this and blah, blah, blah. Bro, he's a household name. And as such was top paid guy. I don't know if he made the most money in the company, but he was certainly up there, well deserved. And
I mean, he's pop culture. I mean,
yes,
he's segued into, what is he, lead singer in his band, Fonzie?
Fozzy is a still touring band, and in fact, whatever. What if he does sign with WWE and debut on Raw? It's already been announced that Fozzy has a tour in like the middle of February. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's still doing it, still going strong. When you look at Jericho's effect on the company, he was the one who said, I called Vince. I told Vince, this is what I'm doing. Vince wasn't happy about it. Vince didn't think it was a good idea, but at the same time, he and Vince had a good relationship. And it was, well, okay, pal, if that's what you think is best, good luck to you. And
I respect them for that, though.
Yeah. And over time, it seemed like Jericho's mentions of Vince got fewer and fewer. And I don't think that Vince may have been as thrilled with his decision to let Jericho go. That was what I always kind of gleaned from the situation. But now, this is another household name that is departing AEW. You had CM Punk, you lost him. You had Cody, you lost him. And now you've lost
with
Chris Jericho.
With Cody, with Cody wasn't, AEW propelled Cody from his time there. When Cody wasn't a big star, like when he went back to WWE, he gained a lot of that from AEW, don't you think?
I think it was yes, he did. It was a momentum effect. From the minute that he left and he put out the list, he was instantly more popular and more interesting than he had been. How do you follow up on that? Well, you start to actualize that list and you wrestle some of these people. And everywhere you go to, you start to build this army of people that are supporters of you. And he goes to Japan and he looks like a bigger star because he's wrestling in Japan. Then you pair him up with the Elite, with Kenny, with the Bucks. And now he's a bigger star than he had been.
So he took the whole same perception is reality and turned the perception into reality that he was a bigger star, and now he is.
Yes, and knew that he wasn't where he needed to be, where he wanted to be in terms of his stardom, in terms of his, overness. So he needed to go and get over, which that conversation, Casey, you've heard it. There have been people that have said, go get over and come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure that's kind of what they said to Cody. Maybe it was Cody that was the one who was saying it. I know what you guys are telling me, or you should tell me. I need to leave and go get over.
Did Cody leave AEW on good terms? Like,
no.
Was him in, or was it a bad departure?
I wasn't there for it. It was not the most bitter of divorces, but I think that there were some scars left behind on both sides.
You think either one of them, Cody or Tony, shoot a text, hey, Happy New Year's to each other, or no?
That's a good question.
CM Punk and him doesn't.
No. But Punk is a different kind of guy than Cody.
Right.
Cody's the high road guy at all times.
Yeah.
And Punk will tell you exactly what he thinks of you in the moment and then never sway from it. You got to respect that too.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd be willing to bet that Tony would be the one to text Cody and Cody would politely respond. But maybe not. Maybe there was more acrimony than I am led to believe.
Right.
His name was not stricken from the records when he left. They didn't, try to publicly badmouth him. There was still involvement with the Nightmare Factory, but every sort of Cody element had pretty much been devalued over time. Right. And obviously the fan experience, the fan connection went by the wayside because Cody was spearheading a lot of that. Brandi was spearheading a lot of it. And that, I think, was a source probably of a lot of heat that, Brandi was telling people what to do. Well, who are you? I'm working harder than you are to try to build this place. That was the answer.
How do you think her introduction into the WWE again was? Because she lost all that stroke going in there.
When she didn't go back.
No, you know what I'm saying. When Cody left AEW, she leaves AEW.
Correct.
And like you said, she's telling people what to do. But when she goes to WWE, she doesn't have that kind of power.
No.
I wonder how her acclimation to it all is.
She's changed. I know motherhood probably has had a big part in that. And
it definitely will change your life.
and again, she was willing to walk away from the WWE so that her and Cody could have a relationship that would be free of scrutiny. And this is a story that Cody told me as we were traveling to Japan one time, that Brandi was, still a ring announcer when Cody was, talking to her and wanted to have a relationship with her, and she wouldn't kind of cross that line. She's a ring announcer
in WWE?
She used to be, yeah.
Oh,
that was how they met. Yeah. So
gotcha.
She walked away from that career so that her and Cody could be together, and no one could ever say, oh, well, she's just sleeping with the boys or whatever.
Right. You got to admire that.
Yes. So I have a lot of respect for Brandi. When we had our little interplay, on commentary in Japan, it was gold. Oh, it was such gold. If we could have mined that for what it was worth, forget it.
Yeah.
She would have been like monster heel with just the way she carried herself on the mic and just the natural heat-getting ability that she had. In AEW, it was kind of a little disjointed.
Right.
She wanted to do other things, and not everything that you want to do is what's best for you. We did the thing that we were able to do, which was have her on the mic and allow her to speak, and I could poke and prod her and get her to say things, and then stir the pot and make it even a better stew. So that was fun.
Speaking of Japan, I got a message sent to me on TikTok of all places.
On the TikTok, hello, Denise Shalalane. Welcome as a new subscriber, and you got a hey Casey too.
Oh, hey. Well, I got this. It says Kevin.
Yes,
I got this message. You really get a lot of hate messages, so I want to tell you about a good one, a positive one.
This is on the TikTok.
It said, yeah, it's the TikTok people. So it said, Kevin, just started watching Wrestle Kingdom 20, and I really miss your commentary. I don't know what your current relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I sure do miss your insight when you call the matches. I would imagine the travel is brutal. Just know that I am a fan and would like for you to be calling matches again, selfishly for my own enjoyment. Thank you for all you have done for pro wrestling. So I did tell him, I responded to him and said, hey, Kevin does have a new podcast, and gave him the information for that, which is, I'm drawing a blank here.
Oh, Strong Style Stories.
Strong Style Stories. Yeah. And I told him Strong Style Stories. I said,
easy
so
to
he's
say.
Talking all about his Japan. I said he talks about his 8 years over there in Japan. So you can tune in there too. So hopefully you got another subscriber over there on that podcast.
There you go. It's fun. It's great. Both this podcast and the other one is great mental exercise connection. We've talked about that. Helping to draw, stories out. Plus, it kind of keeps me out of the doldrums. I'm not going to lie. Because I've spent a lot of time thinking about, did I make a mistake leaving New Japan for the AEW gig? I mean, I know it didn't work out, but I was getting kind of burned out anyway. And the amount of money that AEW was offering was like ridiculous. And how could you say no?
Right. Exactly.
But, because it didn't work out, then you're like, oh, I shouldn't have ever left. And again, because of the way I left, probably New Japan is like, maybe someday we'll call him, but not today. And they also haven't had the best couple of years financially.
I will tell you this, Kevin. Yeah, exactly. I will tell you this. If they look on the internet at all, because of this podcast and we put up so much content, so many shorts, you are very relevant with your face out there and your voice and everything. Because we put up a lot of content that gets out to a
I see
lot
us
of people,
all the time.
So.
It's amazing how YouTube is such a necessary. It's almost like YouTube is more valuable than the podcast itself.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I get that.
And again, if we're monetizing a long form podcast with advertisers, etc., but that is a very difficult game to get into. But again, you put up content on YouTube, you never know how it's going to pop. We talked about the CM Punk, or we talked about the Bob Holly Pickle and Billy Gunn story, and how that's generated.
We're over 100. I think it was today. It was over. It was 97,000 when we talked about it. It's like 110,000 right now. It has over I think 400 comments, and the likes and everything must be thousands and thousands of likes. It's crazy. It came up on my feed again today.
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
And the algorithm is such. Who knows how it works, and who knows? But anyway, it's almost there's just such value in YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and all of these different video feeds. It is one thing that I wish New Japan would have embraced a little bit more, and it was a TVSI decision. Is they were always very strict with fans reposting clips of the shows.
Really?
Because of very proprietary, copyright type of things. And so if you said, "Oh, hey, here's a comment, here's my podcast buddy Kevin Kelly calling the action in New Japan," you would get a DMCA strike. Yeah, you get a letter.
Oh, really? Okay.
They pull the clip down.
But,
and you get hit with that. You get hit with 3. You lose your account.
Yeah, because anytime we get a short goes out, it automatically goes to TikTok, and it goes to X or Twitter, and then it goes to YouTube. So it goes to all 3 of them. I think it also goes to Spanish TikTok or something like that. So it goes all over the place.
Estados Unidos, bienvenidos, amigos.
Next week, I wanted to talk about just to put it out there. It's about Vince again, and I already had this in mind beforehand, but this topic just kind of overrode everything. You had to go with this one. I want to just to put it out there. Everyone knows, or most people in wrestling know, that Vince is always the one in the ear back in the day to the announcers. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to. That, and the reason why I bring it up is because I've seen in my notes in my phone from a long time ago about who the Spanish announcers were getting produced by or talking. Were they getting yelled at by Vince too with an interpreter? So next week let's talk about that a little bit, and a little more about Vince, because it's he seems to always bring a lot of attention when we discuss him and everything.
He's a polarizing figure. As you said, the greatest heel in wrestling history, no doubt about that. And of course, everybody, I think still there are people that to this day go, I can't believe that that's the Vince that we knew. Almost like two different people. Because none of us that knew him from then, Cornette, Jim Ross, none of us are around him anymore, hadn't been for so many years, that he completely changed. Another topic that I want to get into soon, and I want to really lean into your wrestling expertise, is what is heat? And how do you get heat?
Yeah.
Is there the wrong kind of heat? How do you know how to turn it off and turn it on? And how does that relate into money? So kind of jumping into one of the, because you and everybody else that's trying to get over and trying to get seen and trying to get noticed came up with, I'm sure, an infinite number of ideas to generate heat. And I want to hear some of those and dive into it, and we'll see if we can figure it out. And is that one of the elements that's missing from wrestling today? Did they, was it so overdone that now, you can't get heat because real life is more, over the top than wrestling was back in the day?
Right.
Because I hear news stories all the time. And I think if I was producing wrestling, I wouldn't come up with that. I would say that's too much. But that's so we'll talk more about Vince, what it was like to have Vince in the ear. We'll talk about the Spanish announcers. And because two of the most lovely people that I've ever had in my whole life, Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Savinovich. Absolutely love those guys. And we'll talk about that was like. Talk about Savio. We can talk about him because he was a producer that was hired exclusively to do Spanish. Does it work? Is it needed? And how it relates. Plus, as the Mexico relationship continues to grow, we obviously can delve into Mr. McCool there, the former Undertaker, and his role with AAA and all that.
And
by the way,
I ran
have
in.
you? I want to highlight.
I ran in.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I did run into over in Puerto Rico when Chase was wrestling one time. I ran into Savio at one of Chase's tournaments.
What a great guy.
Yeah. So, and then we started talking about, and I was asking questions about bringing Puerto Rico back to life and, investing some money into it, through my partner. And boy, Savio was calling me every day then.
Well, because see, Savio is really connected with, as you have to be, connected with a lot of people that are involved in various levels of politics and community development in Puerto Rico, because it's a great way to get free publicity. It's a great way to get venues. It's a great way to be in an advantageous position financially. And you're sort of riding the coattails of them. It's co-op advertising. I'm here, we're posing for pictures with the mayor. It's one of the oldest tactics to promote wrestling. And so it's a lot of that. But I saw Savio last year at a convention I did in New Jersey for Tommy Fierro. And we were able to catch up and spend some time together. First of all, Savio doesn't age. He looks identical. And was talking about the next generation of talent development of the people that he's working with now in Puerto Rico. Because, again, it used to be you had stars coming in and out all over the world. And, of course, Puerto Rico wrestling has completely died off now. The Colon family is still very strong there, but not the way it was with Carlos. But Carly's still pretty strong. And Eddie's pretty strong, but Savio is like the main guy now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it's not.
Also,
and we know it's not.
I don't
what
know
it
if you
was.
want to get into it this week or not. I wanted your opinion on the Jim Ross thing about the racist remark that he made to Devon.
I never
if you
heard
have any
Jim,
insight,
I never heard Jim Ross use the N-word. I never heard him speak ill of a person because of with a racist attitude. I never heard him not hire someone because of their cultural background or anything like that. So,
and you worked in talent relations with him, right?
Yep, I did. And
so you have more of a insight than other
correct.
people would.
But at the same time, I am not saying that Devon is not telling the truth and that this situation
it's weird.
didn't happen.
I hear them say, I heard Maven on his podcast say, I kind of opened a can of worms and they didn't want me to bring that up apparently. But why would they say it? It was a really weird situation when Maven started telling about it, where they're like, he's like, I think what it was is Devon felt that way. It's like they were he was backpedaling a little. So I'm very interested in it. I know a lot of people that know Jim Ross, and I've heard a lot of racist people in wrestling, but I've never heard his name come up in that, that group of racist, people in the office or
and again,
anything.
He worked for Bill Watts. That's how he broke into business. And Bill Watts had Ernie Ladd as his right-hand man. And Junkyard Dog as his top star. And had, any number of black wrestlers trying to draw fans from the black community. If Jim Ross was a racist, it would have been found out and something would have been done. Way before Devon. But again, they had, but you listen to Jim Ross, and he's told stories about personal interactions with wrestlers like Bruiser Bob Sweetan, and what a horrible human being he was, and terrible racist things that he did. We both love the wrestling of Killer Carl Cox, but supposedly he was a racist. I don't know that.
I saw Jim Ross on his podcast giving his response, and it's so much reminding me of Gordon Soley because he was chain smoking the whole time. Because you see the smoke going up, him smoking his cigarette and everything. You remember old Florida wrestling? You could see smoke. Gordon was smoking during the broadcast in the building because sometimes you could see the smoke coming up.
It's one of the things that you can look for as you watch Championship Wrestling from Florida highlights on YouTube. Is as they've come back from break, Gordon has taken the last puff and blown it out, probably, and fanned it. We're back on Championship Wrestling from Florida. And I want to bring in Coach John Heath because that's what he did. And supposedly,
I'm going to watch it now to see how many people come on and say, well, Gordon.
Yeah, right.
Because of the smoke bothering them. I'm going to see if anyone starts putting it over.
That would be great. It was, but again, I forget who said, somebody told somebody, and I always thought Morocco was like the source of the story, that when Gordon got hurt, and he had to take time off, he had to have hip surgery or something like that. It wasn't because of the bump that he took from Humperdinck or anything like that, but he was booking towns in the office and got so drunk that he fell off of his chair and hurt himself and broke his hand. I love that. That's a good one. No, we've got a lot to cover. I wish Jim Ross would quit smoking. Gosh, I wish he would quit smoking. I know he would probably be happy to quit smoking, but
I think it's easier said than done.
I know it's worse. It's worse. It's harder to get off of nicotine than it is heroin, they say.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But, Jim has had so many different health issues over the last 10 years or so. And it'd be like, let's.
Recently,
let's
too,
let's give the body a break. Let's give it a chance to heal itself. But it is what it is.
So real quick, a recap, because I see you yawning already, because I know you got to get up early in the morning. Because we kind of veered off it. Chris Jericho looks like he's going to land in WWE.
Yes.
My thoughts on Chris Jericho, a lot of people are like, he's done. He should quit, this and that. I think Chris Jericho has been a master of reinventing himself to be relevant more than one time, to being a top level wrestler, a main eventer at the top. So I'm excited to see what he does, because he's always been very entertaining, and some of his things he's came up with. So I'm excited to see. Hopefully, he lands there and you know, does something good again.
It's always exciting to come back. And
unless he's going to TNA.
well, wait a minute now. That was an idea that crossed my mind too. And that's not the worst idea in the world. It might look like a step down, but TNA's debuting on AMC, a new network, coming up here on the 15th. And some star power might not hurt. Now, maybe they can get that sort of organically through some WWE promotion or the guys that they've, been utilizing. But a name star like Chris Jericho, I
because they lost
highly
their
doubt
big star. So, no, they lost their big star.
They did?
Say his name and he appears.
Oh, your favorite. You love this guy.
Oh, yeah.
God. But then you have...
Now that damn song's going to be in my head again all night.
You have, of course, Chris Jericho with the greatest debut in wrestling. The Millennium, Countdown to the Millennium. You watch it, it still holds up today. It was the most incredible thing.
Yeah.
And the way it was
great.
timed. They knew exactly when it was going to happen because if you look at all of them, it was back-timed perfectly. I think there may have been one or two changes in the time, like it was going to end at 9:00 whatever on this date. Maybe they moved it out a little bit, but that during that time frame, in that late 90s period, that TV studio at WWE at over on what was the street? 120 Hamilton Avenue. My God, they did some amazing work. Just fantastic.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, let's put a pin in this one tonight. We'll pick up all the conversations. Hey, listen, did Bret Hart open up Pandora's box? Did Vince and Shawn really, are they lovers? Bret Hart says so, and Casey and I dove into that. I want to know your thoughts. If you have any thoughts at all, doesn't matter. None of it matters to us.
I didn't dive into it.
You waited over on the side. But we talked about it, and I don't have any less respect for Bret Hart than I did. I love Bret. I think he's amazing. Sit under the learning tree with him.
You know what?
And incredible.
If that really, you're right. And if it really happened with Vince and, the Heartbreak Kid, it is what it is. As long as they're both happy, that's all cool. I'm good. It's their business.
Want these two crazy kids, if they're in love, just be in love. Who cares?
I always thought Linda didn't care for Shawn Michaels very much. And I wonder why.
I don't know. But and of course, Chris Jericho's return imminent. WWE. We'll see what happens. We'll follow that. We'll talk more about what it was like to have Vince in your head next week, and we've got a lot of ground to cover. And I feel like we just scratched the surface on every podcast episode when it's time to wrap up because Kevin's got to go to bed.
We'll be back next week, Sunday, Monday, depending on how Kevin's tummy feels.
Oh, dude, seriously, like it was like I was pregnant and it was all gas. Wow. And all I did today was just either this way or that way. But felt much better probably by about 3-4 o'clock. So we're all good for now. Go. And of course, thank you to all the fans on TikTok who continue to love and support yours truly. We do appreciate that. And to the very nice fan who sent the kind thought about my time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Thank you. Wrestle Kingdom 20 was amazing. We'll do a breakdown of that, by the way, on Strong Style Stories this week.
Nice.
And I'll get into the whole Shinsuke Nakamura, why he wasn't there story. It's very simple. And more. But Casey, we'll do this again. We'll plan for next Sunday. How about that? We'll do it live.
Sounds do it live, good.
Pal. All right, buddy. And I hope you get your 2 new championship belts. We'll need a trip through the case very soon.
Yeah, I've heard the dog barking, so maybe there's a chance they might be out there. We'll see.
We'll have a reveal on next week. And by the way, sweet swag. Yes.
That looks nice.
The Santa Claus brought it to me. It was a little late
I'm glad that
for
you
me opening
found
it.
it in the house.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It was in Cameron's room. He was so like he wanted me to open it, so he kept saying, "I'm just going to bring it out and Dad's going to open it because I'm dying to see what's in it." He says, even though I can kind of guess it's like a sweatshirt or something, it was annoying him, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for the time to open it up on the show, and so anyway, so I was like, "Hey, do we have that box in there?" And he was like, "I don't know, I don't see it." It was there the whole time. Give me that thing.
There you go.
And I was like, "Oh man, sweet." So yeah, if you'd like one, eventually we'll have our own line of merch, and
I'm working on all that too.
That'd be amazing. All right, so for the man who thought of all this, that's Casey Thompson. I'm Kevin Kelly. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast.